Welcome.
You keep turning heads when you walk by. If they only knew you left me blind. You don't even notice their starry eyes, 'cause you are looking straight into mine. Yeah, you could have anyone you want, but I'm the one who gets to take you home. It's the way that you've loved me in the morning. It's the way that you've loved me through the night. Let's just shut the blinds to keep the world inside. Now I know I'm yours till the end of time. I keep turning heads when I walk by. If they only knew that I am yours. I've had my fair share of love, but no one ever came as close as what you and I have right now. The ring on my finger tells me I'm the one. Love like this is one.
Good morning, everyone, and hopefully you guys are doing well today. Sorry for all of you that were hearing the coughity cough going on. I apologize. I didn't realize the microphone was live that quickly. Woohoo, go me! So, coming back from camp, yes. Nothing too exciting about that. I mean, there's always stories to tell, but we didn't have any major injuries, which was good. And the group who designed our practice event for what's happening in a couple of, well, the first part of October, they they actually were not they were not prepared, I guess, and so they designed an event that was way too short, and our teams completed the test event in 15 minutes when we were wondering if it was going to be 2 hours. So the next camp event for our scout group is going to be that's the reality. So the next camper group for ours is going to be called The Great Escape. I thought about this. I'll get back to The Great Escape in a second, but I thought about this thing I talked about on stream but forgot again. And I got, oh yeah, that's what it is. I should totally write it down. Went to open my phone and went, idiot, you didn't put it on camp mode, so you have no juice. So I went to get my battery, and then I got charging and stuff and did other things and went, I don't remember what I was trying to do with my phone. So then when I figured it out, and I'm like, oh, this is good. I remember what I was trying to do, the actual content of what I thought about and forgot about, you know. So, that said, let's see, okay, so it's not this. I'm getting prepared for these. So, long story made short, I think what I'm going to do, I don't really feel like a dog run today. I'm just a little bit under the weather for that. But I think we're going to do some more chopping. I know we need a general mob farm. I have to figure out where to put that. And I'm taking a look at which design I want to do. Usually I do a flushing farm, which I probably will do some format of again. But the disadvantage to the one I usually do is like 10 layers hide. It's an on and off thing. And I'm glad I've got Elytra. I've done it without. But I don't think I really need that level of farm. So, I'm taking a look at whether or not I want to revisit like the 2-layer sort of plush shaped type. Problem with the 2-layer plush shaped type is that I do need to have spiders, but the spiders tend to get caught in those because they just decide where they're going to hang out on the walls, and that's that. So, why do I often go with the other variety? But we shall see. Okay. Here's me daytime. I thank the person who slept. Let me see, who are our candidates today? Let's see, Zip, Swanky, and CJ. Okay, I'm going to bet on Swanky. Just because the other two? Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, eventually I might do a brewing section. That's a big question mark. But no, spiders are one of those ones that I always like to have string. And it's either spiders or trying to deal with these copious quantities of cats. The problem is they follow me around, right? So we want to deal with those cats. Oh, I left the leaves in here. Ha 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 ha. I meant to put the leaves away so we could start fresh-ish. Wow. Okay, I guess I have some leaves. Funky music. It's that bizarre playlist. Where is it here? Licensed, put together by somebody else. Oh no, that was the... What do we put in? That was the staff picks list. Oh, not what I want today. Switch. There we go. Don't know where we are on that list, but that's okay. It just didn't work out for Lego. So, yeah. On that note, I have thought about... I'm looking at the Dadcraft 73 community. We used to have a spreadsheet. Pardon me.
Hello there.
I'm doing well today. We used to have a spreadsheet with people's schedule on it, and I was relying on it really heavily, but it turns out to be completely and utterly inaccurate. Hey, Wildy, good to see you. Welcome in. And yeah, it's inaccurate. So Mondays, I am very solo. Solo, you can't hear me? No, I wish. But for that very reason, I'm actually debating on what I want to do, because if I'm going to continue doing Mondays, I generally like, but sometimes I'm, pretty dead post-camp crud. I'm actually wondering if it might be better for me to consider doing a lazy Lego Monday rather than a Friday for that. Just, let people chill and whatever, but also when I'm mentally cooked, then we can do... Oh, okay. Then when I'm mentally cooked, then we have something where, in essence, the instructions that tell your brain, hey, here's what you need to be doing, are kind of built in. So that's something I'm very much considering. It also means that when I have to... Wildy, if you're on mobile, you may want to consider switching to at least 480p, 480p. Reason for that, I am not entirely sure, but the app on a lot of mobile devices does not seem to like anything less than that. Yeah, I still don't know why it is, because on a lot of ones on the PC, if I'm running at a teeny tiny window in corner, like in the pip window, so like the tiny corner to corner biz, then I don't need to be at full resolution, so I'll often just drop it down, because if I'm lurking while doing something else and on it goes, then I don't need to have that full height, right? Or full resolution. And so I'll often go to 380 or whatever is 360, just because that looks good enough for me to be able to quick glance and go, oh, okay, that's what that person's doing. I guess we now have a stick box and a half full birch leaf box. That's okay. Hey, Distorted, how you doing? Oops, and I don't want that one. Gonna grab all of the... There we go. So I really should figure out how to do... I'll put some effort into a total self-storage. That would be sensible. But brain doesn't always think about stuff like that. Let's go throw these upstairs. No, I'm not running around... Well, I was like a chicken with my head cut off, and then I turn around, it's not the chicken head, it's the backside. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, is swapping up the weekend bits. The weekend bits. The Friday and Monday bits, the ones that bookend the weekend. Just so that, just so that we have sort of self-instructing days. The days where you don't really need to think. So that's a possibility. We're just going to chop a little bit because we will still have a good bit of space that I want to clear out. We're almost done on this side and almost done on that corner, and we have not gone all the way out on this side. And then spend a little bit of time and materials to flatten out some of this one. And I think we're going to start with the carpet art on that side. It's probably a little bit easier to work with than some of the other plans I had. So yeah, that's where we're going. Oops, where did I put? I don't know where I put whatever it was I was working on. This is toolbox. Why did I have the toolbox there? I don't remember. Oh well, we'll figure it out. There. Oh, right. Pants have to go away. Wow. That needs a bit of work. Pants go here. Part of my intent for the weekend was to sit and think about what I was going to do for some sort of viewer thing. And frankly, I did not. Instead, I succumbed to, this weekend was not a good weekend ADHD-wise, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, other than to say, well, I hope not, because it might derail me, but, oop, don't touch that, there we go. It was not a good weekend, other than to say that, I got into a conversation with one of our, teenagers in our groups, like we had the Venturers and the Scouts out, and I got into a conversation with one of the Venturers about their reading, because, they're hard to get a conversation with. At least for me, we don't tend to have a whole lot of... No, I was at Scout Camp, so I didn't have a bunch of... didn't have a bunch of things on my regular radar. We were doing permits, and as stupid as it sounds, and as dangerous as it sounds, and yes, I mean that, I don't necessarily have to think when I'm teaching things to the youth about permits. I've done it enough times that it really doesn't rate on my radar. Let's do it this way. Okay. Really doesn't rate on my radar a whole lot, so I can often, float off, I guess you would say, think about other things. Map, we got this part. Where am I? I'm on the south side. I'm such a fool. I want to be on the north side. Anyway, so my plan was to think about what I wanted to do this week to get the plan rolling and actually have a plan. Mental reset kind of thing, because last week I was just not in the game in my head. It was not working. I know we need to chop, and I always like chopping. I find it relaxing, but I can get really, really quiet or on really bizarre tangents. So anyway, long story made shorter, because, me, long stories never get short. Yes, I know, guys, you want your jobs. The weekend was one where I, unfortunately, by having a bad ADHD weekend, succumbed to an awful lot of emotional overwhelm. Basically, the long story short on that is that now I'm confused. Oh well. Is that for some unknown reason, it has to do with executive dysfunction in our brains. Yes, that sounds weird. Some people with ADHD can we have difficulty regulating emotion, which sounds like we're immature, and that's semi-true, but not in a way that we necessarily have a choice to control. Now, where that comes in is that when input is a little bit high, so too many calls in your time, or it could be like a lack of clarity of instruction, or just sometimes too much auditory input. Our brains can go and freak out and just semi-shut down. Like, we don't end up, uncoordinated or something. But what also happens is we can be susceptible to two elements that play off each other in a negative way. One being that the sheer amount of emotion that we feel/experience, I guess the best way of describing it is it can be larger than your typical brain. And with that, we actually have a distorted inability to actually regulate that and how we react to it. So, yeah. Which is less than ideal in the best of times. So I had a bit of a crash that way on the weekend, and after this conversation with one of the other people, I reminded myself, I should say, that I don't, for those very reasons, I don't do horror genre very well. I mean, everything from the jump scares to the ick of a lot of the stuff, 'cause it's not really horror, it's just grossing people out. So I don't do horror very well, but I love classic books, and I actually read a good number of classic horrors, but you do it during daytime, right? It's not a big deal. You put the book down if something's bothering you and whatever. But we're talking like, 9:30, 10:30 at night in the foothills, surrounded by trees and whatnot, and having this conversation with this vet who normally I can't connect with other than things like, what's you reading lately? So it's my own fault. I brought it on myself, but I was reminded of all the things that when I was younger used to scare me, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I did that stupid thing where I actually scared myself quite badly.
Hello?
And thankfully one of the other leaders who's part of our care core team, so it's the mental health team, didn't say anything, but just quietly stayed up with me and let me talk about anything and everything. And I was well aware of what was going on, but just had trouble shutting it down. So that kind of derailed my plans to think about, spend the evenings thinking about and planning what I was going to do in Minecraft. Yeah, so it was interesting. But I mean, on the bright side, though, we got to inaugurate a whole bunch of youth with whittling knives. That was a fun experience and a half. No injuries, but a lot of stupid things going on. And of course, everybody and their dog always wants to make their pointy stick. I mean, yes, they have to be taught how to make tent pegs and whatever. But first they have swords, then they want to go and have a little bit of sword play, and inevitably somebody gets poked, and which is part of the reason why that type of thing is actually banned. And yeah, it gets to be dumb. But oh, the glow sticks! Ha ha ha! Well, here's the funny thing about the glow sticks. I know we talked about glow sticks versus reflective tape last week, and the $2,000 budget of glow sticks. That $2,000 budget part, I still don't have any control over. That's still happening. But in our practice game, thank you for the derailment, Mike. I appreciate it. In our practice game, what the leader of that one did, and they thought that they were being smart, was they marked the boundaries with what's basically standard flagging tape that's striped with silver paint, which I find rather useless, to be honest with you, because it was neither a neon color, nor did it actually reflect much of anything when you put your flashlight on it. Though thankfully nobody got injured. The resulting effect, though, was he used a glow stick for every one of the stations that our youth was supposed to find. Disadvantage being it was dark enough between clouds over the moon and intermittent and some trees and whatever, that our youth could actually spot the glow stick station, and they only had to find 4 plus a moving one, but they could spot them from over 100 feet away. And the other thing that sort of befell this practice test is that they were given Google Maps, like printouts of the aerial satellite stuff from Google Maps, which resulted in them having far more knowledge of the area than they would ever have during the actual event. So conveniently, either the instruction was forgotten, or the guy running it just forgot to give it out. But because of injuries at the real event in the last few years, a new instruction that youth are not allowed to be running. Yes, that sounds weird, but you're not allowed to be running in the real event. However, our youth decided they were going to anyways. And so, yeah, they caught all 4 stations plus the moving one in 15 minutes. Because they could see these glow sticks from over 100 feet away. So they actually just ran from station to station. They could just about see them from the previous station. And the other mistake was the leader running the thing announced who was the moving target. Whereas the real event, you don't know. So you might have actually kind of talked to this person 3 or 4 times, but just in passing, but not enough to qualify as actually having connected with the station. So this one, they knew who their target was, and they cycled them. Yeah, so we sent them out twice. But that was, yeah. But we learned, it was a good lessons learned situation. Our youth did get a taste of it enough that they'll be able to consider the real deal in a few weeks, a ramp up. And there'll also be a lot more mental stress on them because it won't be just members of their own, like, larger group. So we had our troop doing the participating to find the stations, and then we had our venture company being the taggers that chase them down. And the taggers are funny though; they don't really have to run because we have some that are not finished growing taller and are already 6'5", 6'5" tall. So they just, like, they don't even need to power walk. They just long stride, and they can actually catch some of our younger scouts because they're just so tall and fast. No. I mean, they have them, but they're not really allowed to use them. So in essence, if one of the stations or the vents spotted them because they had their flashlight on, they could actually lose points. We instituted that in our practice, though. In the real one, they have flashlights too. We generally don't want to use your flashlight because in the real one, there's enough vents around trying to catch you that most likely you're going to give yourself away. And up until this year in the real event, they were allowed to run. I mean, there's a lot of various different forms of cheating that go on. I really don't like it, but it's a reality. And I don't mean just in our practice event, but in the real one. Everything from the venturers not giving the youth an appropriate amount of time to escape after having been tagged before they go and tag them again. They tried one year to institute a rule where you weren't allowed to tag the same group twice in a row. You actually had to be different ones. But then all that happened was they'd find 2 or sometimes 3 groups and just rotate around in circles. Well, I mean, the vents... Yeah, you're right. I mean, the vents are... Venturers are skirting the rules partly because they get points for every tag they make. Which was actually kind of funny because the game is over when the scout troops find all of the stations. But the funny bit is initially, we had 3 teams of scouts going out. The real event will have the people being in teams of up to 8 youth plus 2 leaders that have to be together. And so in that one, your groups are much larger, which means, of course, it's harder to hide. And the ventures, I think, have to go out in pairs for safety's sake. Oh, whoops, I can't do those trees without. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So anyway, where am I going with this comment? But in our practice team, we had the youth go out without the leaders because we were, like, it's a private property that by that point they'd all run all over it for a day and a half, so it wasn't a big deal. And so for the private property, they were just, I guess, doing their thing. We let them go without the leaders, and then we give them what's it called? An FRS radio, so that they were, they had their walkie-talkie, and so if something did go down bad, they could easily get hold of people or bring in the first aiders or whatever. And we had no issues, but that means we didn't actually have to send our leaders this time. So that was good, but then you're going to get more running because, frankly put, the reality being the leaders are often the reasons the kids don't run if they have to stick with the leaders. Also, teams used to be allowed in the real event to fragment. So if you're getting chased by Venture, you could have some go one way and some go the other way, and they have to meet up again to move on. So what would often happen is some of the Venturers would basically go running at a group, watch them scatter, and then just try and hide until the group reformed, and then pop up and tag them. Which was kind of we thought it was dirty, but obviously the youth don't always see it that way. Okay, where are we? From the building. Oops, wrong one. That's why. That one. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, a little further out there. 6. And where am I now? I'm in it. I mean, it's a fun event. I think it's a great growing experience for the kids. I kind of wish we could do it like the the Netherlands people do. 1, 2, 5, one more. In the Netherlands, once you reach the higher Scout age or Venturer age, one of the events that they get to do is the youth, not usually in groups, like they'll spread them out, get driven out of town, about a day and a half hike, dropped off in the woods, and expected to get themselves back into town, including dealing with any possible wildlife involved. So yeah, it's that's something I wish we could do over here. Right, one too far. Okay. So yeah, I wish we could do that here, but not a thing. Which is part of why we do events like Great Escape instead. So, Great Escape, for those of you that are wondering about the reference, for the cheesy Coles Notes version, try the Steve McQueen movie. And think about that. So we have, but of course being politically correct, the two teams we have are the escapees, hence the participants, because you're escaping from the teens chasing you, and the ones that are chasing you are referred to as the League of Nations, because, you can't call them what they used to be. That's how life goes, isn't it? The Denmark ones, yes, or sorry, Denmark, sorry, the Norwegian ones. I guess can't get that right. D for Dutch. Okay, yes. So the Netherlands and Dutch are allowed to take tools in that case. For ours, we don't allow them that sort of thing, only because we want to make sure in our event that they're safe-ish. Now that's not, let me correct that. They're not allowed to wear their tools. So like, we just gave a bunch of them knife permits this weekend. Or well, let me just say that they've earned them this weekend. And so they could theoretically take their sheathed knife in a backpack, but they would not be allowed to like wear it on their hip or something. Anyway, it was just a bit of a schmoz in that respect. We had lovely weather, but it got down to freezing and nobody had expected that per se. I mean, you're below frost point, but we didn't expect. They said that the lows overnight were supposed to be, I think about 2 degrees Celsius above freezing. It was supposed to be, and that was Saturday to Sunday in the wee hours. Well, imagine my surprise when, for a variety of reasons that I kind of hinted at earlier, when I finally got warm enough to be able to sleep well, my system just said, "You are not getting up," and ignored my alarms. So I mean, it wasn't that bad. I woke up at about 8:30 rather than 6:30 I'd originally planned. But I was surprised that when I woke up at that point, that we were talking one degree below zero was the real feel. So yeah, it was a little surprisingly frosty. And I have some modifications I want to make to my own tent, but I'm going to need my seamstress mother-in-law's help because she's got the right equipment. Just different tent fabrics are a little more stretchy, so yeah, that's where it came to. Well, it's not meant as a frost. It's more of, like, as I said, we were headed towards the foothills, so it's going to freeze sooner a little bit than it will in the open prairies. But the other part was, for some reason, we had a little bit more wind than we expected, so that was a minor surprise. Okay, did I get through? I'm just going to start heading south on this one. I think I've got all the way, and then we'll deal with the oaks last, because I don't have any allies set up for the oaks. Excuse me. Notification. Well, in this case, it was a drive-up camp. So, as in, I was able to take things I don't normally take. But I was trying for the second time a tent that I had bought for backpacking in the summer. I quite like it. One of the things I liked about it is by having a navy cover to it, it does help it get a little bit warmer inside. So that wasn't too bad. But the disadvantage being, I think mine's more of a nylon blend base for water resistance purposes. They still have, coatings and whatnot on the top. Oh, you stupid Enderman. Thank you. I still have nylon, for water resistance coatings, but of course, nylon versus polyester. The polyester doesn't stay quite as water resistant of its own thing, and it's a bit more. I can't remember which one. I think it's a bit more susceptible to problems with the sun bleaching type effect. The nylon one I have, people claim it's a little more susceptible to stretch. I don't think it's stretch, but it's a little bit pickier about sag. And there's a couple of pieces on the tent where it pulls the inner tent out a little wider when you peg out the outer part of the tent. Stretch it out with wires, or well, we call them wires, but the guy wires. And it's just they put these stupid little bits that are supposed to help pull your tent space wider for you from the inside. They put them, how do I put it? Like 3 inches from the floor of the tent, so like a hand's width, maybe a little bit more, or sorry, a little bit less. Can't count. They put them a hand's width from the floor of the tent. Like, who needs that? That's kind of stupid. I guess in a windstorm it would keep the tent fly down rather than letting that part flap like crazy. But yeah, not so helpful in what we were trying to do, or what I was looking for. But there's a perfect spot part way up where there's a fabric shift, so therefore a seam. And I think I'm going to get those little tie-out pieces moved upwards so that the inner tent can actually be pulled out closer to where I actually have the outer tent pulling. It's just a perfect spot because the wire is attached to the outside, so there's a seam there. We have, and it reminds me I have to dry tents today. Blah. I hate drying tents. Not my cup of tea. Leaves. When I get full this time around, we're going to go dump things. So, all that to say, I had a great time. For the most part. I scared myself and I'm embarrassed by that. But, people make mistakes. That's all I'm going to say about my silliness, is people make mistakes. I get scared by silly things, always have, and I think that's partly because, the little jump scare stuff. And also, for some reason, because I overthink things, I can extrapolate ideas. Something that might not be intended to be scary, or, well, it might be intended to be scary, but only briefly, is very effective because I extrapolate the idea out just based on whatever does bother me, and I really wish my brain wouldn't do that. But it is what it is. I never believe it, it's more that it gives you the heebie-jeebies kind of thing. Okay, Inventory full? No, not quite. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I've got most of that, which means I can get that away. So what are we doing with these after we get everything cleared? Is we're going to, I said, we're going to be working on carpet art first. So I haven't decided whether I want to do the Beatles in their regular outfits first, or if I want to do them in the Sgt. Pepper outfits first. I got a nice little screenshot of both, and I'll just need to see which one I would like. Screenshot / poster. I'm leading towards doing possibly the regular outfits they use through most of the Yellow Submarine movie first, partly because of notion of anticipation. It makes it, I can anticipate the other ones, something to look forward to. And I'm still on the fence. Awesome, Mike. Did you buy it for such purpose, or is this a leftover from previous years? Excuse me. No, carpet art isn't necessarily everybody's cup of tea. It's kind of cheesy. And I don't know if I will be able to line it up in order to be able to turn it into map art. I've never done map art. Not intentionally. Let me put it that way. So when I did carpet art, I didn't in the past actually bother lining it up with anything. So it just was what it was. And I don't know if there's anything special you've got to do to it. Like, I've seen just about every season, somebody does at least one carpet art of some sort. Like this year, it's the hot potato logo for our friend Swanky Potato. And I don't know if it has to be lined up particularly perfectly. I don't know what their scale is, etc., etc. So it's something that someday I guess I'm going to have to learn. Okay, I have a question, Mike. Something that somebody asked me on the weekend. When you say Cub Scouts, now I get that in the US there's a different set of demarcations, like ages. Am I here? Yeah. Different set of age demarcations in the US than there is compared to Canada. But I'm also curious what the name levels are. So, like, in Canada, we call them cubs, but it's always wolf cubs. But I'm aware that in the US, there are all sorts of other names as well. These. I don't mean to put the same name, or just pure out of... What am I trying to say? If I can remember what I'm trying to say, that might help. That's the other part. Map. I can't remember what I'm trying to say. Yeah, so like the Cub Scouts have existed. Okay, cool. Some people had... I'm... Just for your safety, Mike, I know it sounds dumb, but I'm gonna pop this one. I didn't do anything wrong. It's too easy for people to do math on that and ballpark ages, and I have a thing against being too specific about ages. If I choose to give my own, that's fine, but I don't really want anybody else to in the channel. Whether they're, legal age or minors is irrelevant. Okay. I said I had a second chest, and I was gonna do something with it and put it out here, but I don't remember where I put it. So, yeah. For now, I'm gonna stick... let's chop till the top of the hour, then we'll switch to the dirt, and then we'll finish up with chopping again. I think that's probably my best bet. But we have 3 sets of reasons for the little guys. I'm trying to decide what I want to do with that. Aside from eating more ender chests. Okay, let's try and take one of them. Yeah, I follow, but oddly enough, I said something by mistake in someone else's channel that allowed people to figure out exactly how many years old I am, and I actually got an ageist comment from a very not wise individual. Oh, whoops, that was the wrong one. Darn it. Hello, you. Oh, where'd you... I did not take anything away from that guy. I need this one. Hey. Okay, sir. I think I'm gonna have to tie them up. This one. No. Also gonna move the fencing afterwards, but we'll get these guys figured out first. They do not want to play today, do they? I don't like that guy underground, and he's just annoying. Okay. Who do we got doing what? I've got 2 doing birch logs. Buddy, you can stop and do this. Okay. Got the birch leaves out, so I've only got 1 of those. How many stick guys do I need? Probably just 1? Stick guy? Where are you? This one can hold that one. Is you try and exchange like for like, just so I don't get confused. 1 birch block. Oakwood guy, I don't really need to have him doing his thing. Actually, you might be dark oak leaves, so let's take 1 stick guy. 1, 2, that's birch leaves. Birch saplings. Oak saplings. 2 oak woods. Should be 1 more that's duplicated. I'm trying to figure out who it is. It's the stick guys. Okay. You, sir, you can be not a stick guy and be a leaf guy. How's that? Okay. One, 2, 3. Oh, birch. I can put this away. Nope, not that one. And apples. Okay, I'm gonna hang on to that just in case I need an apple guy. It's so many I know! What I'm probably gonna do is keep, like, maybe 1 stack of them, and then compost the rest. But I really don't need the leaves. And so the saplings are really just letting it despawn and moving on to get the trees dealt with and out of the way. I made a mistake initially. Instead of using either of these, the Leaf Wrecker or the Silk Touch, I actually was using my Fortune Pick. If you want a lot of, Fortune Hoe, if you wanted a lot of saplings, that's a good way to do it. All right, and then we're going to come back and do the dirt thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop doing that. 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. There's always one, isn't there? There we go. Let's go, boys. Hello? You not have a job? Go. You were confusing me. Okay, let's go. Whatever. I'm gonna chop, and if they bother to show up, they bother to show up. They're like cats. I kind of wish that I could get the map, not the map, get the what was I gonna say? The chunk borders on, just to, I could number them or something, but it doesn't work out that way. Where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going 6 in most directions because, thank you. Because it lets me deal with like 6 by 16. Works in a half. It's a lot, but it works in a half decent scale for carpet art because then you can get enough pixels in there that you got detail. Less critical for the regular Beatles outfits, but it's more critical when it comes to their Sgt. Pepper outfits. 6. Oops, I went 7. Oh, from the corner. 6, yeah. So I need to just keep on going. I also do not like these little cave things because things like creepers just pop out of ruddy nowhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I see a live possibility for a creeper, so let's go back this way. Trees, and get out of here. Come on. Sell them. Pop-up shop! That would be really rude, actually. Funny, but rude. Let's put a pop-up stand selling all the saplings right next to the front end of the log truck. Like, DIY 1 at a time log farm. Bonus, now with leaves. And yeah, I know I just did that, so if I get blown up, we're in trouble. I'm going the wrong map. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, what I'm going to do, waypoints. Actually, not there. Let's put it here. Waypoints. Set a temp waypoint. I just did. Yeah, okay. Do I see it? There it is. Okay. That makes sense. Let's do it again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's square off, I guess. I'm trying to decide if I want it all the way clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another temp waypoint. Yeah, that'll probably work better. 1 to the corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Totally close enough. So I don't really want to go up there. Let's go tip waypoint there. Because I can see them, it makes it easier. I hadn't thought about this the last time I did these because it would have made so much more sense to do it that way. Oh, and I don't know how temporary is. 4, 5. Oh, that's going to be fun and a half. Okay. Waypoint. We got out at this end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And I know down here it won't be all that easy because there's a big ravine. So we'll just have to see what we can get. Go to this corner, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're right out to the corner of the ocean, so I may not want to go quite that far. We'll see. That means if we get all the way to all those temp waypoints, then we've got the whole place cleared out. Or maybe this season, we'll see how far we get with all our projects. Then we can surround the central section. So now I want 6, just because I did that. Waypoint, temp waypoint. Let's take this one, and we will remove that. Okay, there we go. Now I got a fence. That helps, right? Wrong one. I have to keep top hitting J. Okay. Yeah, we've got a ravine through here too, so we're gonna have to see what we're gonna do with those. I do not like you. I may end up having to do dirt stuff. Whoa, jeez. Almost looked at that Enderman. May have to do dirt stuff in there fairly quickly to get rid of all of that mess. Enderman and me, not such great buddies. I guess if I'm looking at the critters, then it might not hurt to build into the stairs. I don't like overhead coverage. Sorry, not overhead coverage, but like little dark places. I usually try to light up everything or make sure it has no coverage. But because of the sheer number of Endermen that love to be around here, it's tempting to build, I guess you could say, Enderman safety holes with lights in it so that it doesn't spawn things. And I did not account for the mushrooms out here. Woohoo! Well, I'll get the mushrooms separately, I guess. I said I was going to only do to the top of the hour, didn't I? Don't believe all you hear. I thought about it, and actually one of the things that this year I won't do it because I've got too much to do. Or too many ideas, but I've thought about one year when I go to chop out a whole bunch of trees like this to purposely get all the leaves, just build myself like a classic boring hedge, you know, potentially even put in a hedge maze. I know a lot of people have done that, but like intentionally make it short. So not just, it could be 1 block high, it could be 2 blocks high, but have no problem with people looking over the edge or something like that, seeing each other. Just, you know, doing this sort of chop out, you can get an awful lot of leaves to work with. They do look like a formal garden, exactly. What I was thinking is, on that vein, we don't have a whole lot of stuff in, excuse me, in Minecraft to do it accurately representation, but I think it might be fun one year to build some sort of just generic house, or it could even be a fancy palace. I hadn't really put 2 and 2 together to decide. But it might be kind of fun at some point to replicate some of the pictures of the classic gardens. I don't know if they still exist or used to exist at the royal palaces in Paris. You know, like the ones that Because there used to be some really sweet gardens for like Louis XIV and so on. And they had things in there that don't make sense. Like, just, they're far enough north, you should not be regularly growing, you know, orange trees in your backyard kind of deal. So that would be difficult to replicate in Minecraft, but it would still be sort of neat. I know I've seen some people do things like they want to replicate I think it's the Doge's Palace at Versailles. Or that might be two different places, now I think about it. But the idea was there. And so I think it might be kind of fun to do more of those sorts of things. I'm pretty sure there are tutorials on some of the palace places, but an aerial photograph would be enough for me to work with as far as the gardens go. That might be fun because I haven't done stuff like that before. Usually I freak out too much about getting the palaces right. And in this case, if I decided I didn't care about an interior, maybe since interiors aren't my thing, maybe I work on, I don't know, learning exteriors. And the nice part about doing like palace gardens, something like that, would be that the landscaping or the terracing is so incredibly obviously fake. You know, like it doesn't blend in. That's kind of the point of some of it. They want to stand out and look cool amongst all the royalty and aristocracy of various different countries. That I don't need to worry about the fact that my skills with blending in type of landscaping are not the strongest. So there you go. If you have, dare I say it, a deficiency in Minecraft, you know, you can build them slowly, and you can also find ways of working around it. Hey, Mama Bear, if you get a second, can you throw that in somewhere in the Discord? I may even just have an ideas channel at some point. I don't have one now. You know, all the random stuff she's talked about is ideas, and then never remember later on. The ideas dumped in. Okay, so that one. Something like that, yeah. So formal gardens, I don't know, something like the ones at the palaces in Paris, or something like that. Basically what I'm looking for, I need to talk to my my doctor about, like, who's got my medication prescribed for ADHD. It was working really well at the beginning, and now that I'm building up a tolerance to it, it's not working as well as it used to. And I've read a lot about people who say that for them, in order to get it to work well again, they need to take a day off now and then, and my GP said right now not to. So I want to talk to her about getting permission to do so. One of the things that I find it was best for, or is best for, I should say, one of the things I find it is best for is I can be forgetful, but the reasoning behind that is partly, I shouldn't say just the distraction factor, but I have a lot going on in my head all at once. And so the one idea or the thought will crowd out the next one. And that's part of why I'm forgetting things, is because it goes, oh, we're going to think about this now. Well, I'm sorry, you were thinking about some other thing like 10 seconds ago. Nope, we're going to toss that and we're going to think about this thing now. If you think about it, everybody has basically working memory slots. That sounds silly, but a lot of people with ADHD, and sometimes those with like autistic related and or autism directly, will have basically fewer slots. And so if you've got a lot of whirlwind stuff going around in your brain, and you naturally have fewer slots to keep as your working memory, you're not going to be able to hold it all at once. And if part of your brain is sort of controlling-wise taking over in the executive dysfunction element and saying, you were going to think about this now or crave this other thing now, your working memory gets kind of gibbled, and so it can feel like you're being very, very forgetful. And part of the reason I'm hung up on that element, or those sorts of bits, is because there is also a history in my family of memory issues as people get older, and usually it's older. But, you never really know what the triggers are for that as to when it arrives, or if it's going to arrive, if there's going to be that hereditary thing. and I don't want to have other situations potentially triggering it early, because that would just suck. And yeah. But that's part of why I lose track of a lot of the stuff I talk about in Minecraft, is just because I'm putting those working memory slots to work, trying to make sure that I can play the game and keep the motor mouth going. But what the content is, aside from being family-friendly filtered, is usually pretty sus. Oh, I missed a block or two in here, didn't I? Must have, because it's taking forever to come down. Yep, I did. Move, buddy. So, that's it. And on the weekend, when I was teaching knife skills and stuff, you know, a lot of the kids we talked about, they make pointy sticks or whatever, and I realized I was very rusty on one of my skills as well, as far as the teaching part of the knife skills goes, was more that I wanted to teach them how to notch their sticks, because tent pegs are great when you make them, but you kind of need to know how to make a notch. Like particularly the ones I was working on, we call it a 7 notch, but it looks like a number 7. You know, the slope downwards and then the flatter section at the top. Because you sort of need something to stop the rope from sliding off your stick. And you can do it by just making it super rough. So I've got the lower section to 7 remembered, but I'd forgotten, by being rusty, the upper section. Just sort of how to keep it, like, do more of a 90-degree cut. That's the bit that I'd forgotten. So I have things to work on. But so I have a really fat-looking... it's like I'm trying to be an old version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But I've got an old fat stick like that with a notch that sort of started in the side, and it just looked really silly, so I'm going to finish it. So I can teach myself that. It's one of those things now that I've got it. I'm being really bullheaded about it. It's on the radar of, okay, you need to learn this before it becomes non-camping season. And it's not because we actually need to make tent pegs, but a tent peg or a stick with notches in it is really useful for so many other kinds of things that I feel it's an essential skill. And everybody who's doing knife work should know it. Hey, Tai Tai, welcome back. How are you doing? Glad you could drop by. So, yeah, But we talked when I started a little bit about the fact that I'm coming back from camp with the expected normal camp crud. So it's the coughing, the stuffiness, the whatever, related to being around a campfire. Although this one was better than usual. We were using a fire pit, well, it's generally lightweight when it's empty, more or less. But we were using one of the solo campfire pits. If you've never used a solo campfire pit or solo stove, I would definitely recommend looking them up. It's one of the ones it's a double-walled pit, so that I think they're usually made out of some sort of like aluminum alloy of some sort, steel aluminum alloy. But the nice part about them is they vent nicely at the bottom, yet they manage to contain the ash for the most part, and you don't get a whole ton of smoke. Well, there's a story about that I'll tell you in a minute. But you usually don't get a whole ton of smoke because when the airflow around the wood gets going well through the sides of the unit and the bottom, it actually will do a really nice reburn. So it'll vent enough air coming in that you get flames that look like they're going sideways, and they do a lot of reburn, so you end up with far less smoke. And if I was to revert back to a wood-burning fire pit in my backyard, I would go that route. We do not have a wood-burning one right now. We've got a propane one, just because nobody in our house likes chopping wood. We can, but nobody likes it. Part of it is that every time we do it, we need to move the oh, is that a corner? Or is that a middle? That one. J. No, that's not a middle. Okay. But we have to move the stump for chopping on. We need to move the stump because, of course, if you leave the stump on the lawn, it makes, it kills the grass. In our case, it attracts ants. Because wherever you kill the grass, I guarantee you, the ants move in. Whether it be Whether you already have yard mushrooms or not, you still get ants, and I don't know why. But yeah, they like our yard. So we don't have we've got a chopping stump, we just don't like it. And then last year we inherited a lovely plastic shed. So it's holding our bicycles, because we didn't actually have a bicycle shed. And so got that as well. I should say to deal with, but that's the reality. Guys, you can have your inventory. I'm going to move everything around. And so we minimize the space that we're using. But the other perk I like about propane fire pits is that we can, you just go out, you, like, say the kids want s'mores at dinner. We don't do it a whole lot, but if they wanted roasted marshmallows at dinner, then you just go out, you turn on the fire pit, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get a half-decent temperature, so that it's all the way around, and that's it. Like, you're done, right? You've got what you need. Whereas, with wood, you've got to, light it all up, then you got to get it to burn down right, and set, it just takes too long. It's not great for a spur-of-the-moment type of thing. And when it's not a spur-of-the-moment sort of thing, of course the kids don't want to do it all that often. Nor does the husband. Nor does Fantastic Sherlock Fox. There's the word I want. Oh. I had forgotten these two were different. Okay. This always confuses me. We've got a dark oak leaf. Pity's sake. See, I messed up in here again. A dark oak leaf and an oak leaf. I don't know about you. I don't see a whole ton of difference in these two. I mean, if there is difference, maybe I'm just, I don't know, thick or something, but I'm not seeing a difference in those two. Okay. We're past the top of the hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie up these guys and start leveling out this zone that we've got in front of us. Hello, 1. You volunteered. 2. 4. 5. Come on, guys. Should be 3. I think I missed one. Yep, I lost one. Figure out where they went to in a minute. You're lonely. 6. 7, come on. Oh. Okay. Oh. Sorry. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, and they're all tied up. 8. There you go. There we go. Got them all. I heard pops. Oh, not much I can put away. This one. Grab a couple more bins from inside and see if I can figure out where I put the other the other ender chest. I had it somewhere saying ender chest and ender chest. I don't think so. Oh, I think I know where I put it. Is it in here? Nope. I know I've got one in there. Whatever. Alright. So we've got one for the dark, one for the wood. We need 2. Bunch. Dark oak, oak. Oak leaves, dark oak leaves. Oak saplings, dark oak saplings. Oh, and apples. But apples can probably go in the whatever box because I don't have a huge pile, so I'll just stack them in there for now. That should be everything, I think. Yeah. Map. Which side do I want to put that on? I'm going to need to do more chopping over here, so maybe I should put it... journey map. There we go. Wrong one. so I've got this bit. Maybe I shouldn't put it over there because it'll, I have to go all the way around. Let's put it in the spot we have now. Woo! Nope. While I'm in here, if I sleep away the day here, or the night, then that's fine. It's AM, but I've got a respawn point. That might not be a bad idea. And you guys saw me doing this, and it's my fault. I did it anyway. South. North. One of the reasons I'm considering doing a carpet art-esque thing is that I can actually add to these signs, right? And put maybe an item frame above with a carpet art of whatever the heck it is out that door. We'll see. Chilling with Minecraft. Awesome. Awesome. Do tell me what you're up to in that one. Are you kidding me? Not another one of those days. Okay. Yeah, that worked. Okay, this one. Put those in here. Put that one in there. Make it leaf boxes. Dark. Light. Gonna confuse me, but that's okay. This will be saplings. Alright. I've got those done. And I'm gonna put this one away for now. Let's make sure they don't go anywhere. Oops, not that one. Come on. That, and that for now. A bit of stone. 3, 4, 5. Always start with the smallest one. Do I want dirt or... I don't really care. Let's start with the grass blocks. 5. Map. Let's see. What do we want to do for height? Keep hitting? I have both mapping systems for a reason, and it's kind of annoying me that I can't hit the right one today. Probably worth targeting this large middle section as a height, which means a lot of chop down from the top and a little bit of layering from the bottom. But I think that will work. Let's see. There's a thing up here. A thing. A thing! It's a wonderful thing! Where am I? I'm on the north side, okay. Right, I need to go south. And then on this north side, actually, that might be a good place to start. Yeah, it's easy when you're doing it clear cutting. If I was to do it manually, actually this would take longer because of not having the alloys. Debating, because I've got all my supplies up top, do I want to start at the top or start at the bottom? Actually, if I start at the top, I'd have a whole different X level. Sorry, Y level. Okay. Excuse me. I'm going to have to cut down some and layer up others, so that's why I'm looking at this going, where do I want to be? Because the Y level of this stuff, like the bigger sections are here, appears to be about 63, which is reasonable. And I'm on 65, so that's not too bad. Only 2 blocks cut down, which would mean more stairs, but that's fine. Now, if I was to go to 63 for everything, all the way around, that would be this section down here. That doesn't make sense, because it looks like 63 is this level, right? That's suddenly 64. 63 over here. So this layer must represent 2 blocks. And there's a jump. Aha, there's the jump right in here. I missed that. So this is 64. That's 64. That's 64. So 64 is a good spot on most of it, but then I'd have to do an awful lot over here to bring it up 64. Excuse me. That's just a 62, and we've got holes. Okay, on this side, the big chunk I was looking at is 63, so maybe I should just go with the 63 round, because then that's another big one here. Which means I have a lot of peeling to do over there. And this whole thing with trees, I'm looking forward to get the trees out, but I definitely have to do a lot of filling. That will be probably an episode in itself, only in that we got to do the caves and things, and as it stands right now, looks like there was death monkeys in there. And I mean Enderman, sorry. Death monkeys. Brain, thank you very much. There's the word of the day. Let's see. Actions. Nope, that's what I want. Setting quotes. I have to figure out how to do that. I had a quote I've added, and I can't remember how to add quotes. There's a quote system in here, but I can't remember how to do it. That's the thing. Sometimes if you don't use things... Okay. That's the response. Get. I don't know. I have to look at that one up. So, that will be added. Handwritten. I still didn't. I wrote myself a note to DM Poodle, and I didn't. Crazy. Okay, so quote system. DS share in panel. So I've got a panel that lists a lot of the commands. So what I'm going to do is look up the quote system. I'm going to make them into like public commands and make it easy for everybody to add quotes. So that if you guys hear something rather ridiculous that you might want to pull up and stick in my face later on, you know, let's go for it. Okay, so I think I said 63 was what I wanted, right? Great. Yeah. Because that's this large section here. And that's this large section there. And this bit over here. So we're good. Which means, now that I've got stuff, let's find a 62 spot and start placing. Right? And then we can dirt cut down the rest. Dirt cut down? Whatever the word was. What's this? Ah! Right, that explains the gazillion torches. Okay, so... I want 63 where I'm standing. Which means I'll just go here, maybe? That's close enough. And cap it, because I don't want to fall down there. I go and stand on things. Smart! Rather than making fun of Mr. Homer Simpson, you know, I'm gonna call it smart. Like a good farm cave? Farming what? I'm not entirely sure. And, ooh. Hello, zombie. You can stay down there. Oh, I see what you're saying. I did, but the amount of lighting up, and, yeah, the amount of lighting up was kind of ridiculous, but also, you made a good point. I don't intend to do it this time. I'll probably do an open air one. Partly for the purposes of rates. I didn't have a major problem with the rates last season. Yeah, I'm just being kind of random here. Didn't have a major problem with the rates last season, but this one is such a spaghetti cave place, as you guys are seeing, that being able to make it solid around the solid and or totally air around the mob farm would probably be a good thing. Sorry, that's why I didn't put two and two together. I apologize. If I had a huge, like, what do you call it? Cavernous type of place that was really just open without a whole ton of spaghetti caves behind it. That's what I did have last season. It worked out really well. Other than, you know, scaring the pants off me once in a while, but that's, you know, silly is as silly does, shall I say. I wanted 63, right? Okay. One of the reasons I'm using a good amount of stone to fill things in somewhat underground is because, of course, off camera, if I really want to, I can be my own, we talked about this, I can be my own clicker, mouse clicker thing. And we're on 60, I can't even think today. I'm looking at my stack, it says 61. I'm like, no, that's not the Y level I'm on. 62. Okay, so I want 63, which is meaning I will stand there. Okay. I will leave this hole because it has to cut down. Reboot. Perfect timing. Maybe. Cold coffee. Ought to go. All right. Refresh. So for those of you that haven't done so yet, and I haven't done enough of it,
2, 4, 6,
there's a hydrant for everybody.
hydrate.
You know the drill. Your water, your pop, your juice, your fizzies, your wobblies. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Make sure you hydrate. All right. Let's get back on in here and see. Let's sleep. Wow, yes, let's sleep. So 2 skeletons and 2 spiders. I'm gonna leave that bed there for the moment because you guys can stay like way over there. I'm okay with this. Alright, but this one now made it to 63. I'm just gonna throw a couple more in this spot. Because we hit our target point. I'm not gonna fill in any higher. There we go. Happy sheep. Ugh. This is 64. Alright. So these, yeah, I'm glad I threw down the torches, but that's a pain. Oh well. Babes. They don't like me. 63, right? Right. What do I have? Hey. Hello, buddy. You, Mama Bear's the first one here. Welcome on in. Good to see you. Yay! Lots of noise. Lots of noise. Lots of noise. Why not? Bushkin's not here. Mike didn't take it. Not sure why. Maybe because he wasn't battling out with Swanky. Mama Bear made it here before Mike. That's new. Okay, good. I can take this one out because it's not a danger zone anymore. Welcome to Dell's Danger Zone. One of the things we did not do at this camp was have a formal campfire, which was kind of disappointing. On the other hand, some of our adventurers were a little ridiculous because so the rules that Scouts Canada has for adventurers in terms of leadership presence is we don't actually have to be as close to them, like within reason. That sounds silly, but let's say the Vents are going on a canoe trip. They can actually go, I think it was almost up to a full day's journey ahead. I'm not sure if it's more than that or if it's less than that, but I mean, it is. They don't actually have to have the leadership, or sorry, call them leadership, but they're not. The scouters, so we're technically advisors and facilitators and that sort of thing. But anyways, they don't have to have us tailing them. The scouts do. But it's a level of independence. So on this property that we have, there's enough people, you know, and we had the FRS radios everywhere and so on, that they didn't need to have us write down their necks camping with them. So we decided to let them do their own thing, more or less, and they decided that they were going to sing whatever songs came to mind, some silly ones and some campfire ones, some pop music. They basically had themselves a karaoke night till probably about, I'd say 1:30 at least, if not closer to 2 in the morning, which was all well and good because they also don't have rules per se, unless there's an event happening that they're a part of. They don't really have rules on when they're supposed to get up, which I thought is kind of odd. But because they don't know those rules about when they're supposed to get up and stuff like that, they just stay up late and get up late. I mean, most of them do get up at a normal-ish time when they camp, just sort of out of habit. But yeah, they don't have to. And the resulting effect of that was they were singing all kinds of crazy stuff, nice and loud, and songs that you kind of go, wow, I didn't even know they knew that song, because it feels old by comparison. So for example, the facilities that we stayed at had washrooms that were like flush toilet washrooms because it's a private property. So of course the private property owners are going to install whatever they ready please. I mean, you have to have rules if you're going to have the scouts stay there. But in terms of like whether they have outhouses or vault toilets or flush washrooms or whatever, that's up to the owner, right? And because these guys have done that, and I was headed off there late at night and no big deal, and I hear on the far side of where I was, I hear the vents still singing, and next thing I know, I hear a whole bunch of na-na-na-na-na kind of stuff, and I don't recognize the tune at that point. And then they suddenly started belting out 1:30 in the morning, Sweet Home Alabama. I was like, are you kidding me? Guys, you're crazy. That sort of stuff. So it's funny because a lot of them are like, ew, we won't sing those songs or hear the old stuff or whatever. And then it's the age-old thing where old popular radio music suddenly becomes campfire tunes. And I think it was just because it's the kind of stuff that'd be really corny, but you do hear it at like karaoke bars and stuff. Okay, so we are going to have a bit of a challenge when we cut this part down to 63, just because obviously there's more caves. Gosh. Silly guy. But I can take these out because it's no longer the lens going to fall in it hole. Okay, here we go. Weird, this looks like it's 63, and yet I just came out of a hole that said 63. So we have a lot more 64 than I had originally thought. Yay map. Yeah. Yay map. Both maps are doing it to me. Yeah, this is saying 63, but it certainly isn't at 64. Not 62 down in the hole. I don't know. I have to decide. If I go 64, there's more to fill, but on the other hand, I don't have to chop off as much. Yeah, I'm not a fan of all these little holes, which would imply that if I was doing a mob farm down here, I have a spaghetti cave system underneath me. But I was using a lot of, as I say, I was using a lot of stone because I can be my own auto clicker. It's a good song. It is, definitely. But it's just kind of funny because it's the sort of thing that they go, oh, that's for old people. And they don't want to hear it. And then you hear them doing that. It's like, yeah, hypocrite teenagers. But one of the other guys came by and he says, hey, you should come join us. I think it'd be awesome to have you to hang out. And that's great. I loved it, but I felt I had to decline just because what I call the scouter effect. Basically, I mean, it's the in-charge effect. Everybody knows this thing. Where as soon as you get somebody in charge, even for a non-in-charge reason, a lot of the party dies down just because, they start watching themselves. And I actually have a reputation, which is kind of too bad, but it's the whole family-friendly thing, right? And it's more that the whole lack of personal self-control, yes, I said it, means that I don't necessarily prevent myself from doing a big old eye roll when something suggested, or they're at the age where they know they're not supposed to use poor language or adult themes or whatever at Scouts. And most people, don't. Like, they don't go potty mouth or they don't try and do something. But when they say something accidental, there's no point in me calling on them or calling them out on it. And I just do a good old eye roll. But it has been in the past enough that it's like, oh, yeah, authority figure present. Back it off, guys. And the party dies. It's like, no, I don't want to do that to you guys. I was actually getting a kick out of the fact that you guys were enjoying yourselves this much. So in spite of the person who invited me is his younger brother and was kind of a family friend for a while for my son, and his mom used to be a scout leader with us, so we were all kind of pretty chill about it. But a lot of the other ones aren't like that. Okay. Wandering around a little bit looking for torches. I don't really want to do another torch hole fill, but I might have to. Nope, that's good. 63 or 64 is really the vote, I guess. As expected, you block it off, and it becomes Mob Central. Is that a bed? It's my bed. What did I do? Yeah, that's my bed. 64. If I go 64, I don't have to cut it down as far. So I guess we're just going to fill a lot of dirt for a minute. We want only about 15 minutes left of that. I'd love to get this flattened out, or at least one of these flattened out fairly quickly. So we're going to be working on that so that we can get into the carpet art. The reason that I'm pushing on the carpet art at the moment is that it's either that or me trying to deal with another visibly 3D statue, which, while all well and good, in spite of what Genfire may say, I'm still not happy with / nervous about my own skills and abilities to build from scratch. So yeah, that's what she wrote. I should grab some more stone just in case. Oh, wrong one. Okay. So yeah, the other thing I find funny is our Scouts are doing the same sort of thing. So what I mean by that is the one section younger, the troop level. Oh. I wanted 64, right? Yes. 3, 2. Guess we have some holes I can fill. Our younger section does the same sort of thing. It's just that frequently they don't get as far with their songs because A, the Scouters have to stick with them. That's kind of the rules. But also B, that they don't tend... I mean, not that they don't remember them, but they don't tend to be allowed to have their phones out. When you're at adventurer level, it's not that the kids are any better at the self-control angle, but they either A, are harder to get to actually keep their electronics away during camp, but also, your loss kind of deal, I guess. And, so anyways, the song part, the Scouts don't usually get that far, just because they don't tend to have their phones with them. There's some at that age group who aren't even allowed by their parents to have phones at all. So you're not going to get them, looking up the lyrics. That's really the big difference, is whether or not they have access to all the lyrics. Whereas the vets tend to, look up lyrics and be ready to sing stuff. That was the other one, actually, that got me in the first place before Sweet Home Alabama, was, you've got this group that's like 14 to 18, mostly 15 to 18 years old. And so they're not old enough to be going to public karaoke bars and stuff. And most of the ones in this particular age group, or this particular round, don't have siblings that are older than them who would have been doing that sort of thing. So you get, I get quite surprised when every once in a while we'll get something along the lines of like, Sweet Caroline. Like, where, unless their parents are playing it, are they going to hear that? Me. Alright. Need more. More stone. We can handle this. Yeah, exactly. I will admit, just to hear it like at late night, part of they didn't sing the second night, and I kind of wish they had, but that was just because I was having issues. But the was I going with this the second night? Yes, second night. Gonna need a third one. Dirt. Okay, I'll take another dirt box. Oh. Are we north or south? Oh, whoops, no. North, just to know which way to go. I'm actually now craving, wishing I had time to be able to go to one of our local piano dueling bars. It's attached to a dinner theater. Oh, the dirt one? Okay, the dirt one can go on this side, and their stone one can go on that side. Yeah. Oops. Let's put a bunch of this away. Okay. I'm gonna want more. I do want more stone than dirt because, as I say, stone's infinite, dirt's not. Yeah. So, yeah, they don't have a whole lot of access to stuff, so I'm just kind of like, where are you guys hearing these from? On the other hand, I'll take that with a grain of salt, because one of the families who's very, very involved in scouting, they love to mess with people, but they also like Disney movies and stuff just for fun. And they can quote, basically do all the voice roles of a lot of animated films and sing all the songs and stuff. Just initially, I think it started they do that because it annoys people and presses their buttons. I don't think they're meaning to be malicious as such. It works out that way, but road trips, they will like put on, Encanto or Frozen or something in the vehicle and sing along with all of it, which is fine, I guess. I mean, there's other ones that can do all of Hamilton or whatever, but yeah, we had fun with listening to them do that sort of stuff. And the eye rolling from the scout leaders that, yeah, I like Disney well enough, but I'm getting a little tired of it, is great until the kids go, oh, okay, well, that's fine. We will mess with you then by using, the Sonic the Hedgehog movie or the Pokemon movie. So thankfully they draw their line at Paw Patrol. They don't do that. My kids tend to usually roll their eyes at this sort of thing. And they don't tend to take part, but I'm just waiting for the day that becomes not a thing because it's just goofy and they enjoy the goofy. Oh yeah. But one of the things that gets the kids annoyed at us in return, and so we do it at every opportunity we can, is of course slang. We're not very good at the slang. Which is, yes, I will admit, I'm old. It's a thing. I'm old. Well, not as old as other people, so please don't be offended if you happen to be more senior than me, or that's not the word. Have been promoted in life a little more than me. How's that? Anyway, been around the sun a few more times. But one of the things I find funny, and we've sort of started doing at Scouts intentionally, is when the kids use a slang term, we like to purposely, attempt to use it. Sometimes we get it right. Most of the time we're horrible at it, get it terribly wrong. And we know that annoys them. And so we do it on purpose. But half the time they think they're too cool to try and explain it or actually correct anybody. So the one that we love to mess with lately, this weekend, the sort of slang annoyance of the week, an extension from Summer Jamboree, was we were bugging them using the term Sigma. So often you hear, the awful usage, poor term of WTF, and all that stands for, what the, or WTH, what the heck. People are using Sigma instead of that. I'm not quite sure where that came from.
Hello.
Hey, Yellow. That's what we do it in front of friends. Well, yeah, that's what we do in front of scouts, because it annoys the heck out of them and their scouting friends. And so this weekend, I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention, but one of my other scout leaders started it up, and he's like, yep, so this is all very Sigma. We had a very Sigma weekend. And I was like, oh, so is it all Sigma'd up? And they're like, yeah, definitely. And the kids are like, no, just stop now. You're embarrassing me. You're an embarrassment to yourself. I'm like, excellent. And one of the other scouters, I couldn't do it because I don't have it all memorized, but actually a couple of them, started going back and forth, quoting portions of Bill and Ted's Excellent Journey, the first movie. I think it's Excellent Journey? Or is it, I can't remember if it's Excellent Journey or Greatest Adventure or something like that. But anyways, Bill and Ted. But they were having they're faking that attitude and then throwing in, Sigma references, and we got well beyond sus in about 30 seconds flat. Adventure came first? Perfect. George Carlin was fantastic in that. But we love doing that because it was bugging our scout troop to no end. Because they're at that age where, parents are horribly embarrassing. Whereas our venture company, because they're that little bit older group, the ones that started this whole singing thing, our venture company didn't care, that we were being goofballs like that. That doesn't bother them anymore. They're like, they'll just do that. Old people are like that. They're used to it by now, so they don't worry about it. They're a lot more nonchalant. But I will admit, it did come back to bite them a little bit in the morning. Because Saturday night, so I had freaked myself out, and so therefore one of the other scouters was staying up super late while I calmed down, which it worked in the end, and I still owe her a huge thank you. And I may actually, because she's done it on more than one occasion, it's not always me being freaked out, sometimes just purely overwhelmed. But anyways, but I might try to see if I can put in for a CARICOR commendation for her. But anyways, we're staying up late, and we decided to go to bed. It's all good. And I go to move the radios, and it crackles. And I'm like, okay, this technology hates me, because I've been having weird, technology doing things I didn't touch the button, but it sets off, that kind of thing. And it had been happening all weekend up to that point. So anyway, Saturday night, I go to move the radio to put it away. It crackles to life, and then it turns out it really was a legit thing. It wasn't me. One of the venturers is like 1:30 in the morning are asking the scout leader whose family owns the campground, hey, could we possibly get a blowtorch? A what? A blowtorch. It's a little bit late at night for that. I'm like, and you could hear the youth on the radio, like they'd say, over after every time they did it. So it's like, can the venturers get a blowtorch? Over. It's like, no, it's a little late for that. Aw, please. Over. Like, no, this is funny, but I'm just sitting here listening to this. The other scout lady was sitting with me too. We're just looking at each other going, what do you need a blowtorch for in the middle of the night? Turned out it was a semi-legit request, but they still had been denied because it was 1:30 in the morning. I mean, dude, go to bed. Turned out it was just because we'd had rain earlier in the week, so the dew point was really quite high. And so even though it was above freezing at that point, it was still easy to get cold from damp. Just damp in the air, damp in the clothes. And that, where the adventurers had camped, was long grass as well, so it was quite damp through there. And so they were just cold. And they wanted to start up a campfire because they were cold. And the reality was the property owner guy was like, no. But then they complained in the morning, like, we were cold. He's like, yeah, well, I still turned you down because, if you guys actually went to bed, you would warm up in your beds. So no, like, Bowie. He says, you know, past a certain point, I'm not going to facilitate you staying up any further. But yeah, it was just kind of amusing though that happened, and it gave me a bit of a chuckle smile to head off to bed with after I'd been wound up earlier. But I mean, you're thinking, you know, scouts, you should be able to start a fire. Well, yes, except these guys were lazy, being lazy. They were hauling wood for the. Sorry, I keep switching back and forth between scouts and vents because venturers are a subsection of our like overall, you know, Scouts Canada type program, or the scouts at Scouts are like their own subsection, so it's kind of confusing how that works. Anyway, hey Tiz, they do get points for creativity. Good to see you. Oh, Mama Bear, just so you know, I rectified a minor. I'm still working on getting bots tweaked and whatnot because, you know, as you guys have noticed, Oswin has not been chiming in much today, which is probably a good thing, but it could be a bad thing. I don't remember. Oh, that would be explaining a lot. Hang on a sec. Right? Yeah. Yeah, it's just not chiming in much. Weird. Okay, whatever. And this one, edit. Oh, well, that's because I turned off the trigger. That would help. Okay, apologies. Anyways, but while I was in there playing around with Oswin settings, I happened to notice that my periodic shoutout for mods, like the collection of names involved, was slightly out of date and didn't have yours in it. So that has been rectified. At some point, you may see yourself shouted out. There you go. No, Oswin was not intentionally put on timeout. I have two versions of Oswin having a personality, which is kind of sounding silly, but it has to do with filtering available to each one. And like one goes through a content filter before it comes out just to make sure that it's not, what do you call it, interpretable as some objectionable things. Isms and ists and so on. And so because of that, I don't usually allow that one sort of free reign to be triggered by people's usage of his name. And see, like, Yellow's usage of the term Oswin, theoretically, should have triggered Oswin, but did not, even though it's enabled. So it's there's a chance that actually it might not have triggered off because of timings, like as in we may have asked that just barely before I enabled that. So yeah, but because I've got the two different versions, I've been swapping back and forth. One of the versions has too much wordiness, as in it talks to us way too often with too much log feedback, or what, sorry, feedback that should be logged. And I'm tweaking very carefully to try and see if I can get it to actually log the responses, so the responses are still there, but only get it show up in the logs. And since I'm not super familiar with writing C# code, it's taking a while. The voluntary assistance on that point that I've been having is from James, which is wonderful. He's very, very helpful. But two pieces is one, I'm usually really sleepy by the time he and I get in contact with each other because of time zones. And, oh, forgot about this. So we're not always on the same page for me to be able to look at logs at that hour. But the other part of it is that, of course, once again, time zones. So if I left a lot of the tweaking to him, it's just, not that it wouldn't get done, it's that it just takes forever. And I can give him full access to logs and things, it's not a problem. I can hang them out somewhere if I needed to. But I just have not really done so, and I'd want to run it through Fantastic Sherlock Fox as our security person, because I mean, that's ITT security is his industry, right? Why not talk to that expert? So we'll see about that, but I've been playing with what I do know in small quantity and slowly trying to tweak it, and then have to let it sit and marinate, so to speak, to see whether or not what I did either caused a problem and forced too much into the logs, or whether it's working. So, yeah. All right, so that's getting me up to about 63, right? And either I peel down to 63 or I go up to 64. And I think up to 64 was probably the better route. But it still means a lot of placing. We're about half and half now. We either cut down or we build up, right? Where is this hill? It's like, I need more dirt. Well, why not just cut down for a bit? Top of the hour, warning. Okay, sounds good. There is nobody here on Mondays. So I am totally willing to not go on, but let me just take a, oops, let's get a better view than that. I don't know. Something like this, maybe? I'm just gonna swap over, grab, oh, the program wasn't even on the same page. There we go. Oh, I want live, please. Yeah. So there's a chance that on the stream team, until late in the evening, there may not actually be anybody either before or after me. Which is scary dangerous for somebody who doesn't perceive time, so I appreciate the heads up, Mama Bear, very, very much. Okay, live channels we have. Do, 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 do. Okay, yeah. Because it would have been more of the same, I think we're going to go with Maribel Jade. But I would like, for those of you that have time and effort, and I'm going to throw this in here, time and effort, just give me a little bit of feedback somewhere in Discord. Take your pick on where, if I could figure out where I put my Discord button. Should be exclamation point Discord. So I might just try it manually. There it is. I moved it. But if you guys could give me some feedback further about your preferences for scheduling, one of the things that might happen is on camp weekends for scouting, frequently I might have to cancel the stream if I haven't got enough packing done. That's one thing if it's Lego, because I'm already... Not Lego, sorry. It's one thing if it's Minecraft, because at that point I'm already conflicting with Wolfen, so if I had to pull a stream, it's no harm. You know, Wolfen's actually a good place to be. But if it's going to be... I'm aware. But if it's going to... What did I just do there? I just placed a bunch I have to put down. But if it's going to be a Lego stream as it's been right now, I miss out. And then frequently on the weekends when I've had camp or whatever, I am burnt when I come back. So Mondays are pretty lame-o episodes. You know what I'm trying to say, streams. So I'm thinking of reversing those, making it like Lazy Lego Monday. Also, if there is nobody else at the moment from our stream team to collide with, then that means that if we go overtime because of, you know, we're nearly there, one bag left kind of thing on Lego to push through, that we won't necessarily be running into as many conflicts. So there's lots of reasons. Okay. I don't know what I'm going to do this week because we also have, anybody confirm, I think it's, oh, hang on a sec. Which one is that? Yes, there we go. Okay. Yes, changed counts. I need to actually see this file. I'm double checking the dates real quick. We have the next stream weekend appears to be on September 21st and 22nd. So that'll be this coming weekend. Oh, there appears to be... Oops. There we go. I've now put myself in for a slot, which I had not done earlier. There appears to be a good number of people on there. So, yeah, that'll be one that I don't know if I'm going to cancel the Friday or not, because, you know, why cancel if you don't have to? Anyway, suffice to say, there'll be prep for the weekend. So one way or the other, this is part of the reason why we're doing flattening out and shopping this week, is so that we can actually do project-y stuff on that weekend. Yeah. Okay. Let's get out of here. I'll keep the processes rolling. Hopefully we'll have a cross our fingers plan, but we would guarantee still that Tuesday and Wednesday, and most likely Thursdays, would still be Minecraft, one way or the other. And then we'll see about the length, because I like 3 hours now because when I get the meds going or the coffee going, I'm wired, but I don't want to do that any more than once a week to you guys. So, yeah. Squirrel, roundabout we go. I think I'm feeling a Jade day, so I think we're going to go to Jade because, yeah, the other people I have, it's either Gutty or Jade, and I think we're going to go to Jade today. I've been kind of chill, Gutty's a little wild, so let's keep the vibe a little more simple. With a happy button, and thank you everybody for being here. Oops. Check mark. Let's get the raid started.
Stiff managed.
There we are. All right. So apparently I've broken something in the subscribed emote set. If you guys want to give it a go for it. Otherwise, there's the emote set below if that's your sort of thing. And if you were just hanging out, I really strongly appreciate it. We had great conversation from Mike and Bob and Yellow, Wildy, Distort Mania, Valenti dropped by and I missed them. Tai, and we're off to Maribel Jade. Also, thank you ever so much, Mama Bear, for the first tier. And I will see you guys tomorrow. So, I believe Tuesdays start 1 hour earlier, which would be 11 a.m. Eastern, but I have to take a look at that. In the meantime, have yourself a great day, and bye-bye for now.
Transfer complete.